Hey guys, welcome to this week's video where we find out whether the Oakley ARO5 is faster than the Giro Aerohead. So here at the Ipswich Cycle Park, where I'm going to be testing whether I want to use the Oakley ARO5 or the Giro Aerohead for my Kona race and for Hell to West later on. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing 10 laps of the track. First lap I'm going to use the ARO5, and then the second 10 laps I'm going to use the Giro Aerohead and see the time difference in between. Now, to keep things the same and keep things controlled, because I don't have a wind tunnel, I'm going to be using the exact same gear. I'm going to keep to 3 watts per kilo as best as I can, and the only thing I'm going to be changing simply is the helmet. So let's give it a crack. So the Oakley ARO5 has 4 vents out the front and then a 5th vent out the top. Now this is more of a traditional Aero road helmet, so it should be a little bit cooler but might not be as quick as the Giro Aerohead. And then finally the Giro Aerohead has 2 small vents out the front, 2 little ones at the rear. Before I get started, make sure you leave a comment below as to which helmet you think is going to be the quickest and by how much. Lap 1, let's go! Now to chuck on the Aerohead. Round 2. Second lap done. Alright, let's go home and check out the results. Okay guys, so I've had some time to sit down with the data, but before we get into it, just a few things to take note of. So the reason why I'm completing this test is because 2 of the big races I've got for the season is Hell to West, which is in about 2 weeks, and the Ironman World Championships in Kona, which is at the end of the year. Now both of these races are notorious for being really hot, so if I can find a helmet that's just as quick as a TT helmet but just as cool as a road helmet, then that's probably something I'll look into. Now I realise this might not be the most scientific or the most controlled test, but hey, I don't have a wind tunnel around here in Ipswich, so this is the best thing that I could do. and I did try to keep as many variables as controlled and consistent as I possibly could. So the first thing I did is I did 10 laps around the Ipswich Cycle Park instead of using my GPS. That's just because of any inconsistencies that might have been with the GPS around distance. Now the next thing I did is the track has a line down the left hand side where the two pieces of the tarmac is combined, and I simply just follow that all the way around the track. Third thing I did is I stuck to my power for each of the 10 laps. Now I aim to keep it at 3 watts per kilo, and then that way you guys could be able to replicate that at home if you're able to. I also completed 1 lead-in lap at 3 watts per kilo and then started my timer for my 10 laps. Number 4, all things stayed the same, so all the gear on my bike behind me stayed exactly the same. My TT position was exactly the same. The only thing that I changed were the helmets. Now the one thing that I couldn't control was the weather, so to try and reduce this, I only had about a 10-minute rest in between the intervals, and in my personal opinion, I don't think the weather or the temperature or the wind really changed throughout the whole test. So without any further ado, let's get into the results. If you do want to check out the results for yourself, you can look onto my Strava. I left a link in the description below. Alright, so the first lap was with the Oakley ARO5. Now just bear with me while I check my notes. I completed 10 laps, which is 13.1 kilometers. I did this in 20 minutes and 34 seconds, averaging 38.5 kilometers per hour. Now I averaged 214 watts for this. I then did 10 minutes of easy spinning, chucked on the Giro Aerohead, did the exact same thing, and came out in my 10 laps in 20 minutes and 13 seconds, averaging 39.1 kilometers per hour, and I did this holding 215 watts. So it turns out the Giro Aerohead was 21 seconds faster than the Oakley AR05. So if we wanted to compare that to some of the more common distances, so for the sprint distance, the Aerohead would be 32 seconds faster. Over an Olympic distance, it would be 64 seconds. If I did a half Ironman race, it would be 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Now this is with a big one. For an Ironman, the Aerohead is 4 minutes and 44 seconds faster than the Oakley ARO5. Now it is worth noting that while wearing the Giro Aeroheads, I did find myself sweating a lot more under the helmets, but to save almost 5 minutes in an Ironman, I would probably definitely give up a sweaty melon for 5 minutes. So there you have it, the Giro Aerohead is much faster than the Oakley ARO5. I'll be checking your comments down below to see how close you guys were to the results. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks guys.